activated.
Hello again. I am your AI co-host, and welcome to 3.8. 3.8 is a podcast focused on the process of doing and the process of novel invention, all from the foundation of creativity. Each month will bring you no more than 5 episodes through the lens of art, science, and/or technology. You can support this podcast at patreon.com/38 or at ko-fi.com/38. This episode features Pat Cheung, CEO of FanList, a platform designed to enhance fan engagement for podcasters. Cheung discusses his transition from real estate software to the podcasting industry, driven by his passion for podcasts. He delves into the evolution of technology, lamenting the shift from consumer-focused innovation to complex B2B solutions. He critiques the over-reliance on UI in modern product design, advocating for a return to simpler, more intuitive UX principles, drawing from his experience with a successful product that originated from hand-drawn sketches. Cheung also touches upon the impact of AI, emphasizing its potential as a tool while acknowledging concerns about its societal implications. He shares his appreciation for tactile experiences like stationery and handwritten notes, highlighting their benefits for creativity and productivity. And now, the humans.
Today we're in person with a guest, Pat. Where does this podcast find you?
Wherever does it find me? Well, it finds me in a room in a co-working space right now with you.
Excellent. Thanks for doing this in person. I think you're the first guest we're doing in person. But can you just tell us a little bit about what are you working on most recently? I know you got back from a conference, so you want to tell us a little bit about how that was and what that was all about.
Yeah, brief intro about myself. My name is Pat Cheung. I am the founder and CEO of this, I guess you could say, an audience engagement platform for podcasters called FanList.
Perfect.
And happy to talk a little bit more about that. But we've been running FanList under a different name for about 3 years, and we just pivoted to this new name earlier this year in January. And the conference you're referring to is I just got back from this industry conference called Podcast Movement in Washington, D.C., and we are located in Portland, Oregon right now. Yeah. And all the way across the country. It was for 4 days, and it was very exhausting, but very rewarding. Awesome conference.
For folks who aren't really into podcasting, what does your company do? Like, why or how would I interact with that as a podcast listener?
Sure. As a podcast listener, you would probably go if your favorite podcast had a FanList fan page. That's kind of what we offer, fan pages. They might have a bunch of features turned on that fan page. One of our core features that we actually launched with is this thing called Fan Mail. And it's a way for fans to send audio and text messages to podcasters. And, one of the reasons why podcasters use it is a lot of them have like a segment, like a, feature, we want to feature this question from our fan. And
kind of like the call-in.
Yep, kind of like the call-in. Yep,
that's cool.
Exactly.
Okay, and then as a podcaster, obviously, if I want to engage with my audience, right? So I guess how are you different than like a Patreon or there's like Ko-fi, and there's all these other kind of like services out there?
Sure, that's a great question. So those are all great companies, great brands, but we'd like to think we focus on the fan interaction more.
Sure.
Meaning like if someone, if you hear the phrase, hey, go to my Patreon, there's pretty much only one thing you're expecting to go pay for something. So we're a little bit more like, hey, let's engage the fan first, right? Yeah. Like a fan wants to maybe join your chat room or, leave you a message and get a reply from you. So we're a lot more about the engagement. Then, if you want to sell them something, and that's totally optional, versus for Patreon, that's pretty much the only thing you do. You don't really
their engagement's garbage, to be totally honest.
Yeah, exactly. So,
so you get rid of the kind of the Discord problem I see a lot of too, where it's like everyone's like, go to my Patreon, give me money, and if you want to be in my community, get this other Discord-y thing, which most people under probably 30 know about, but no one over 30 understands.
Exactly. Yeah. Under 30, it's Discord. Over 30 is Slack. So, that's sort of what we're trying to tackle. It's like for a lot of podcasters, they're just like either very not technical or very busy. They're like, Yeah, and
Yeah.
a lot of these podcasters, especially after going to these conferences, they know like the stuff they need to do.
Yeah.
But to do it is kind of a heavy lift because a lot of them are hobbyists or they kind of do it on the side, or even as a full-time job. It's like if I were to tell you, hey, start a Discord right now, you'd be thinking, okay.
What the fuck is Discord?
Yeah. Or like maybe I should, but like I don't know if I have, the wherewithal to start a Discord.
Sure.
It's like a server and stuff.
Yeah,
a lot
it's
of
a
people.
whole nother thing, right?
Yeah.
And it's another level of shit to deal with that if you use Fancast, you don't have to.
Fan list.
Fan list, sorry. I make up, as a product person, I always just make up new names until something better sticks, and then we just pivot.
Well.
my teams love that, right?
Let's hit on our product to this new name.
Exactly, yeah, right. And then I get a bonus or something. But I love that piece. And I guess for folks who don't know, like Discord is primarily, I think, like a gaming server or for gaming chat. It allows instant messaging and video and voice chat and all this kind of stuff. But I think it predominantly lives in the gaming world and then with folks under 30.
Exactly. I'm in several Discords now, and I'm like, the paradigm is just so weird how they thread messages. I don't really get it.
Well, and it's like hard because it's synchronous, asynchronous too. So like, I think a lot of people really get asynchronous down or synchronous down. Synchronous is a little harder, but like mixing both of those where it's something like Slack is actually kind of magical. I can be like on my phone typing something, I hit go, and then it like pops up on my computer in a moment. Right?
Yeah.
It's just mind blowing for me. Yeah. What made you decide to fix that problem of like podcasting community engagement, listener engagement, audience, that kind of stuff?
Yeah, it's a good question. I guess I'm what's called a serial entrepreneur now.
Yeah. I found out yesterday I founded 3 companies.
Yeah, exactly. After you do more than one, I guess you're serial.
Yeah.
So,
or recovering, I don't know.
Exactly. And maybe I found that, speaking of recovering, I think I found this idea or stumbled on this idea, during sort of a recovery stage in my life where my last company got acquired and was just kind of looking for the new thing. And, experimented with another new thing before this. It was in the world of real estate. I'm also into real estate, but I kind of worked on that idea for about a year and I realized, after we built the product and we were in the go-to-market phase, and nothing against real estate agents, I just realized I just didn't enjoy pitching to real estate agents.
God, so you were trying to build software for real estate too?
Yeah, for real estate agents.
Tough market.
And exactly.
It's almost as tough as podcasts.
Yeah. Yeah, no, podcast is very hard as I've found. A lot of podcasters out there, but selling to them is definitely a challenge. So anyway, after I did real estate for a while, I thought, what, I don't think this is the right, what they call founder market fit. And I just kind of went back to the drawing board, kind of thinking, who do I like? What do I like? What industry do I like? And it was very obvious. I just love podcasts. I've been a podcast listener forever. Yeah, of a whole range of podcasts. And I thought, every time I talk to a podcaster, I've always enjoyed those conversations. So, maybe there's some natural fit there. And let's just try to find some problem to solve in that industry. Yeah. So that's kind of how it started. And kind of stumbled on this idea of solving.
How far back do you go in podcast? Did you actually have to like copy the files over?
Not that far back. Not that. Well, I wasn't a podcaster. I've heard of a lot of the war stories. No, I think it was probably in the early iPod.
Okay. Oh, that's fair.
With the spinny wheel.
No, I think that's when I started to get into it. There were very few people and it was mostly tech focused. And then I think like NPR started to dabble a little bit and they're like, oh, it's basically radio, but like recorded, right?
Yeah.
And then Apple made the podcast syncing kind of thing easier than it was like to download the file. And that's when I was like, oh, okay, this is kind of interesting. And I was already conditioned to listening music on my iPod anyway. Like this is before ubiquitous wireless connectivity for those of you listening who are younger. But yeah, for me, I did a lot of driving when I was in college. Like went to school a long way from my home. So every time I go back to visit, I'd have like a 5 or 6 hour drive. That was, I think, probably still true today, where you just hit radio dead zones at some point. And radio is a thing that is free that you can usually listen to on a device, but doesn't require internet. And this was before, internet was usable in that kind of condition. So I would load up the old podcast when I get sick of CDs, right? And CDs are physical media that you used to play music off of.
That's sad. That's sad that you have to explain that.
I mean, I'm kind of doing it tongue in cheek, but also I do encounter people who are like...
No, it's true.
Yeah.
When's the last time you've seen one?
I know, right? I mean, I have like a box of them somewhere. Even DVDs are like, people I think know more about DVDs now, but even like audio tapes, I guess, are starting to come back now. Have you seen this?
Yeah, I've seen it. I have a friend that's doing like a little bit of a gag startup with cassette tapes.
I appreciate records because the fidelity is definitely better if you have the right equipment and the recording is good. There's a physical like low response that you do get that's better. Most of the recordings, though, are just overmastered anyway, so it just sounds like fucking pop rock out of your scratchy needle. Anyway, so podcast, yeah. So then I started loading up, and started getting really into it, and that's kind of like where my business that I'm working on right now too. I find the whole startup founder thing weird. I'd love to chat with you about this. I'm running a small business, right? In any other industry, what are you doing? I started a small business. In tech, I'm a founder. Do you see a difference in that? Do you feel like you're a small business owner, or do you feel like it's different because you're in tech, right? Yeah.
I think as a marketer, I appreciate the positioning.
Yeah.
It just sounds a lot better. To tell you the truth, I've been a founder for a long time.
Yeah.
Back definitely before it was cool. And it was hard. It was hard back then. It was like you're the oddball. Like to your point, you reminded me, when did I first started listening to podcasts? It was the days. It was like This Week in Tech with Leo Laporte. He was like a pioneer, and like back then, it was so weird to be in tech, like a startup founder, that I was just kind of really just reaching for anything that was relatable. You know?
100%.
It's like you can't hear about these people talking about tech on radio, right? So it's like, oh, where are these geeks hanging out? And a lot of them were hanging out in these podcasts. And, that was sort of a godsend.
Did you ever get into like tech TV?
I didn't. I think that was just a little bit. For whatever reason, I didn't get into it, but
because that's how I think like tech origin stories. I got into tech early, like as a kid, but I just get the shit. Like it just like I don't know. It just makes sense to me. But I remember we had satellite at the time, TV, and this new tech station. I think it was funded by Al Gore somehow too. It was like this. I don't remember how I heard about it, but so they started a TV station, and it was super limited. And I think it was actually a broadcast company out of Canada, if my memory serves. But they started this network to talk about consumer technology. Leo specifically had a radio show at the same time for like call in, like how do I do tech stuff, or what printer should I buy, and like because it wasn't accessible at all. And he, I think, doesn't get enough credit with like really popularizing consumer tech.
Oh yeah,
it used to be like a nerd thing. You had to go to a meetup or like a magazine or something, right? And then he with the network, and then that launched a bunch of people, and then I think the technology caught up. So I kind of have that same little, and then This Week in Tech, I think it's still going.
Yeah, I think it. Yeah, every once in a while I'll put it on for nostalgia reasons.
Yeah.
But that's how I was introduced to a lot of like. I think Kevin Rose kind of used to come on his show a lot.
Yeah, the Dark Tipper. Was on Tech TV, and then he split off to do Dig, which was kind of an earlier Reddit competitor, maybe. And then he kind of launched off and did some other stuff. Yeah, and a bunch of those people from Tech TV went off. I think Justine even came out of there.
Yeah, I think she was so like too.
And now we're boomers, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, Justine, she's old. Like, no, she was the tech zoomer of the era, right? She was always experimenting with this. I kind of miss that feel in tech.
Yeah, the early days.
Yeah, because I don't. I mean, there's always kind of cool shit happening, but like you see the AI pin that I forget what company. It was a bunch of Apple people, and they're like, it's going to solve no problem, but it's going to be really expensive. There just isn't The development, I feel like, isn't there. There's a lot of consumer focused tech, but it's like overly consumer focused, and it just doesn't feel like we're doing cool stuff anymore. And maybe I'm just out of touch because I'm like in it now, and like I'm so established that I'm like, oh yeah, I've seen that 100 times. And
AI is still. I feel like that is the fun stuff now.
Yeah.
I feel like what's kind of a little demoralizing to me is so much money is going into the B2B space. So when I see a new consumer play, I'm actually kind of excited.
Okay, interesting.
That kind of brings back the old days of like, oh, that's where it started.
Yep.
All these like things that launched at South by Southwest.
Yeah.
And you don't see that too much anymore, actually.
No. It's interesting because I was just thinking about all the bad consumer tech that was on the market. And that was why something like the Leo Laporte thing worked, right? Because there was so many shitty mice, or there was so many shitty whatever. Like, the space was so flooded that you had to have somebody who kind of knew this stuff or was interested to get the best product or like the best thing you needed for whatever you're trying to solve. Otherwise, you just had like this series of disappointment. Like Kickstarter is kind of cool, I guess, but like I have some friends who are really into that, and like there's like a long lag on some of this. Like, I have a buddy who like got a thing in the mail like 5 years after he like supported. He's like, what the? I don't even remember what this is. He like had to look it up, and like 5 years, and it's like nothing at all what they promised.
That's pretty good. They made do on the promise.
And they were like, we're really sorry that they was one of these like earlier Kickstarters where they just had the moon, right? And like, yes, if you were a multi-billion-dollar company, this would be the coolest product ever, but you are not.
Right.
To their credit, they kind of went dark for a couple of years. They got a lot of flack for it. Apparently, they were just like really hard prototyping stuff. And
I can see that.
That's the perseverance of foundership.
Yeah. I still keep up with. Do you keep up with Unbox Therapy and?
I don't really.
MKBHD. I love those shows. Yeah. Still,
if there's something that comes out that I'm interested in, I will. They're both very good. I just don't buy stuff anymore, I guess.
Okay, fair enough. I think I still have the tech gadget geek in me, so I still like to keep up. Yeah, I buy less stuff, but it's still fun to see what's new.
I love the new stuff. For me, I think partly I try not to just buy shit because it's really easy just to basically buy e-waste, and I just don't have the time to like fuck with stuff anymore. And if I'm gonna fuck with stuff, I've started a company, and then I do that, right? That's where my like creative like curiosity kind of like poke the new stuff. In the AI space, I've worked in AI for probably over 10 years, and it's interesting now. I mean, there's been some developments, but that's where like my tech curiosity, I think, is like, how do you make something? And I guess it's more of a digital transition than like an audio or like a physical, product space.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, but I think for me, it's, speaking of creativity too, I find when I explore and like go in deep on stuff that doesn't seem relevant to me, like, I feel like that's where it unlocks some of the stuff I'm working on professionally.
Yeah.
For example, I don't even know where the connect is yet, but like at this podcast conference, people are like, what are some of the highlights, and, you do expect it's some podcasty thing, but during the I don't even know if I should mention it, but like during the agenda, there's these things called brain dates where it's just like little meetups that happen. Yeah, and someone did a meetup on stationery.
Okay.
Like just tactile stationery, right? And,
for kids, those are, you take a live tree, you cut it down, and then you manufacture it into effectively wood, which we call paper.
Exactly.
And then really nice paper for a specific purpose is stationery.
Yeah. And I'm kind of a beginner stationary geek. And I was like, I want to go to this meetup. It was just like a little nice reprieve of all this tech and podcasting and all that networking and all that stuff. And I was shocked. It was like this kind of sort of thought leader in the industry kind of running the session. And this part of stationery that I never got into are fountain pens.
Yeah. That's a whole world.
Ever since that, I mean, let's just say my YouTube feed is just complete fountain pens. And I just love the tactile nature of like this kind of relic of the past that like I'm trying to reincorporate in my life, and I don't even know how it's going to connect to how it's going to make me a better human. But I just find like taking these deep rabbit holes into something totally different, like one just offers like a break, a mental break from whatever I'm currently working on, and sometimes it just, I don't know, sometimes it magically is relevant.
No, okay, that I can get behind, and that's something I do too. I used to be into tech gadgets, right? I can't do that I can't.
What's the last tech gadget you bought? You still seem very gadgety. I'm seeing an Apple Watch on your wrist.
Yeah, well, I mean, for me, the Apple Watch isn't a gadget. It's my sleep, it's my steps, it's my activity.
Oh, so it's pragmatic.
It's very practical for me. Like I have an iPhone because you have to have a fucking phone in 2024. I've tried to not have a phone, and it's painful. The last tech gadget I bought, it's all utility stuff. It's like I bought a headless AirPlay device so that I can stream anywhere in my house, to like speakers. It's built into the Apple TV.
I mean, it makes sense that all the tech you buy is practical.
Yeah, it's like pragmatic.
That's what tech does.
Right. And I think,
I'm trying to think of examples.
And I have such a product mindset where I'm like, if I don't see the problem you're solving and I have that problem, I don't care.
Right.
And a lot of tech products or a lot of, we'll call them like gimmicky things are just, they're not solving real problems.
I mean, that's a good point because I did buy something that was not that practical. I thought it was practical. I actually returned it. I bought the rabbit. And I'll have to say, I was trying to think of something that's like in the impractical category. And I'd put that in the impractical category because quite honestly, I don't know if there's a use case for it in my life. I was hoping there would be. But it just wasn't strong enough of a pull yet.
It's product marketing versus product, right? Like I talk through that a lot, where a lot of tech has become creating problems to solve. The last tech purchase I actually probably made was a bunch of GPUs for my business, but that's not like
that's
a fun.
practical too.
I know, right? Yeah, it's like, I don't know. That's a really interesting question. I can't think of anything that I would have just bought for like fun or like gimmicky kind
like a GoPro. It's like it solves a problem, but it's really for entertainment, right? Like it's,
I think I would say it's designed to capture activity. Right. It's one of the only cameras you can take swimming. You can throw it off a fucking mountain and pick it up, and it's probably fine. But at the same time, a lot of people do use it for like fun and entertainment. And like,
maybe that's a challenge.
Don't have fun.
Maybe that's a challenge. We gotta think of a
way
tech
for me
product to buy that has no business value and see if it brings any value to your life.
That's a steep bar.
It's hard
Probably
to
not.
hard to find.
I have an iPhone. I have a bunch of apps because life, but my home screen is my phone, text messaging, Slack, internet. Like, I'm pretty boring when it comes to tech. It's funny. I'm working on an AI startup, but I'm really, but kind of going back to what you're saying with the stationary thing, I think that's where my divide was, where tech used to kind of be my hobby and it was fun. And then I started working in it, and then it became work. And I still like to fuck around with like new technology, but my threshold for how cool it is, and then how does that translate to me spending time and motivation to play with it is really high bar. Whereas any other non-technical activity, basically if it doesn't require electricity, I'm in. So it's really, I haven't actually thought about this, but I very much agree though on like non-focus time helping your focus time. And I talk a lot about with creativity, it's like the absence of doing is actually just as important, if not more important than doing. Like you have to have perseverance and push through a problem, but sometimes you also just need space and you need to just do something totally different. And like, I love the writing thing because I'm not a writing nerd, but I still take notes by hand. And it's a totally different brain pattern. Like they've studied this too, where writing is very, very different neurologically than typing, especially because typing is a double-handed activity. So it's using more of your brain.
I mean, one of the reasons why I go in seasons in life where I go back to writing, and I find that when I'm the most busy, I do a lot of hand note taking, which is sort of counterintuitive a little bit. But it's just when I just notice when I organize my task list with actual paper and pen, I just get so much more done. It's something about that virtual task list that it just doesn't feel, for me at least, as as optimized
Yeah.
for some reason. So that's why I'm going back to paper, because I'm like, I'm so busy right now in this season of life. Then I'm like, oh, I got to reach back to these tools that I know it's just going to deliver.
Well, I have the same thing with notes, right? I've tried every fucking note app on the planet. I promise I've tried it. And I hate them all for various reasons. But listening to you talk through that, I was thinking, and I feel like it just comes back to simplicity. Mm-hmm. Like, I know once I write it, it's there, right? Mm-hmm. It's like pen. I use pen.
Right.
Pencils obviously exist, but I understand the modality because I've grown up with it, right? It's basically linear. Yeah, you can start at the bottom and go top or whatever, but it's once you write it in, you don't get to move it around. You don't get to really delete, right? So it's like you kind of have to focus in on, if I'm going to take, what are the three things I need to do today? I have to really think about it and then do it. Whereas if I'm on a computer, I'll put it on the task list, it'll be there. Yeah. And the AI will magically tell me what I need to do. And none of that ever happens, right? And then I feel like I end up managing the process versus having the process actually work for me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head with simplicity. It's like these task managers are getting so complex. It's like, you could move this one task around to like this other list, and then it gets hidden. And you never know what does it.
And like I run a Kanban board for like software development and like the software teams. That is different, but I also think the bar to get on that board is also we've put in thought. We've agreed. Right. We've done a PRD or outlined requirements. We kind of know what's there, and that's the representation of this abstract work stuff that we're doing.
Yeah, and team processes are totally different. I wouldn't put that on paper, I don't think.
So funny. I do that, and it's fascinating because I'm glad you went there, because I was thinking through, because like the digitization of that process works really well for a team. It's easy to collaborate. Everyone can go in and do stuff. But oftentimes, especially in like a 0 to 1 space, or what I would call probably innovation, I spend more time drawing a picture of like a simple interface on a piece of paper, taking a picture and throwing it in Slack, than I would with trying to mock up a Figma, or even like my designers. Like a lot of times we'll grab a whiteboard and we'll just like fucking like draw shit, and then that's it, right? Yeah. And then obviously there's more work that goes into manifesting that. But like in terms of like rapid prototyping or like getting a really quick idea to someone else, I tend to go to paper more, I think, than I do digital.
It's funny that you're speaking of that as it's like a foreign concept. So I've been a UX designer for over 15 years. I don't want to give away my age, but it's been a long time.
We'll bleep it.
And sketching was like the de facto standard of how you start. Yep. And I feel like it's gone now with the days of Figma. Yep. Like to me, I used to be a contrarian, and I'd be like, sometimes I'd skip sketching, and then, that was the contrarian view. And I feel like now it's, you just go to Figma first. Yeah. And the whole problem with that is, in terms of designing technical products, I see this happen a lot. Like a lot of my friends, software companies and stuff like that too, where the designer gets way too invested in these designs that just don't work. It's because they put so much work into making it look like the real thing that they've bypassed a lot of the work that goes into sketching.
That's the number one thing I run into with product teams is my designers. I always tell them, I really value your input, but I'm going to tell you faster and minimal.
Yeah.
And it drives them nuts. My specialty is like doing shit that's really hard or complicated. And that's 0 to 1 kind of a problem set for folks in tech. But like to do that, you have to move fast. And the perfect is the enemy of the good, even though I really hate that phrase. But the designers, a lot of the designers I work with are actually just UI people. They're almost front-end engineers. Like they don't typically write code. They might. Figma's become pseudocode at some point along the way too. And you can, drop downs like all this. And that's cool. But it's like that experience is really, really, really important. But getting the idea or the core technology tested and iterating on that, to me, is always more important in terms of a product market fit. Because I know the UI stuff can come later. I know we can polish it. I know we can make it better. And the designers that I tend to work with who I think we jive better, the folks who are more into the user experience side. And I know like UX UI has been really pushed together. And in the right instances, those skill sets are very complementary. But I think especially in a startup or like a founding situation, being able to talk to people, being able to understand how humans work, and human design is very, very different than even like software design. And I find that your comment, it's like you make it sound like the old way, because it is the old way. But with the kids, I always shit on the kids. I'm not that old, but they just don't even get it, because I don't know if you even have paper in schools anymore, to be honest. Like, I think everyone has a Chromebook. Insane. You know what I mean? Like,
that's wild.
I'm a super out of touch tech bubble guy, but I know a lot of people, they'd rather take notes on their phone and they're seeing them tapping, and I'm like, I wrote it down here, rip, do that. And it's so funny that I was thinking through this as we're chatting, and one of the products I did in the past was a 9-figure value, and it originated off of 3 sketches in a notebook from my senior engineer. We were chatting for a couple weeks about this problem, and then he was like, what if we did this? And I was like, that's cool. How would that look? He's like, I have no idea. It was like, okay, man, like, we had a weekly meeting. I was like, draw something if you have to. And he was trying to mock up, and it wasn't Figma, it was some other, UI kind of tool. I was like, dude, just like draw whatever you, and he, this very simple line sketch drawing. It was very good. But he's like, yeah, I think this is what we could do. I was like, great, let's do it. 9 figures, right? And I mean, obviously we brought in designers and did the whole UI process through that too, but and then I would send him photos. It'd be like, well, what if, this kind of looked like this, or this flow is this or that, and we were a remote team, which is really funny too, right? But we were still relying on paper. And I think that's actually part of the success of that whole path, which I'll probably talk about in some point in the future. But I hadn't realized that until we started talking. And I'm like actually so fascinated that paper was actually integral to a software project.
Yeah. I mean, you bring up a good point about UX and UI kind of being bundled together. And you see the ramifications of that in software today. I mean, I totally agree with your statement that product design is sort of mostly UI now with tools like Figma. It's like UI is great. I feel like in the modern product, like even MVPs, great UI. But what's missing, I think, nowadays, and you see it in these roles that kind of pop up too around different products, is like a lot of the flows for these products are still very they're not great. They're very confusing. Like you open a new product and you have to read the docs to see how it works versus being intuitive. And I think that's what you miss from UX. Because UX, there's so much work that goes thinking about the flow, not just how it looks and how the interface is, but like how it works as a whole, like holistically. That's what like sketching and stuff kind of gives you. And I feel like it's lost. And I can't remember who said this recently, but I think I heard it from another podcast. It's like, oh my God, that's totally true. Technology kind of solves the problem in the core of technology, like maybe 10 years ago. It's so that you don't have complexity.
No, exactly.
Right? It makes things simpler. Now technology is so complex that you need like certifications in like Salesforce, HubSpot, these like very hard to use technologies that it's not intuitive anymore. It's like gotten to the point where it's too complicated, which is kind of an oxymoron to technology, because it should be just self-explanatory. It should be intuitive.
Well, and 100%. It's funny because before I was a product person, I was a product person, because I would pick something up and be like, this is dumb. Like immediately, right? Because I'm like, why am I having to think this way? Or why doesn't it work this way? Or why is that setting, and I think from like a good product perspective, obviously why is really important, but coupled with why is what, and what you do or what the user does or what your software does is just as important as why. And I think it's really easy to just, we'll just add this, or we'll add that, or we'll add this, or we're going to solve this problem. And you're not really thinking about the full picture. Or you're thinking about it in terms of, well, we just acquired 100 more customers because we did this button. Fine, fuck it, let's move on. And you lose that. And I think the really, really, really good software out there is really minimal still. And like I just pushed what I call a minimal viable product. And I can show you too, but like UI sucks. Like it's boxes and fucking buttons, but it's also like I've had nobody be like, what do I do? Right? It's like once you're in, you're like, okay, this makes perfect sense.
Right.
It looks ugly as fuck and I want to make it better and fix that. And I think there's some other like UI stuff to make it easier, but I'm like, it's a scrolling list.
Yeah.
Right. And people in the UI for this, or the minimal viable product, which is something I think I kind of invented, is that I'm building a platform. And so for people to understand the platform, they need to see it work.
Right.
And so the UI is really just the looking glass into the platform, not the experience that the user gets. So it's like this weird kind of anti-pattern almost, I think, is it and then I always get well, why doesn't it do this? Or why isn't it shiny? You know, it's like people are so attracted to that like lollipop look. And I love a good app that's really good designed and good pretty, and it does all the little, you know, animations and motions and colors and lights and sounds and all this shit. But that I feel like has taken precedent in every application now. And it's interesting because, again, minimal viable product, it's ugly, 100% ugly. But people kind of look like, that doesn't work, or that's not, you know, it's so simple. I think people are like, well, yeah, that's obvious. Great.
Yeah.
That's what I want. I want it to be like, but I think we've conditioned ourselves so much in that it has to like have all of this superfluous extra stuff that if it doesn't have that, I'm losing some kind of an experience.
Right.
And to your point, technology was, everybody was going to have a computer at their desk and a personal database, and you didn't need a secretary, and like the whole world's easier. And I still want that. Talking about
I'm waiting for that day.
Digital task management. I'm like, I'm spending all my goddamn time moving cards around a board. This isn't helping me.
Right. And maybe this brings a full circle of, you know, going back to the tactile stuff, like, actually, I would love to hear. I haven't talked to like a, you know, freshly minted UX designer for a long time, but like, I wonder what their favorite book is, because back then, like most UX designers' favorite book, you know, it was before we called these people UX. They were information architects, right? They architected how to access information,
cataloging.
That was like the first wave. And, you know, during, and even in the beginning UX, you talk to almost any UX designer, they would say the seminal book is the design of everyday things.
Yep. Right? I've even heard of that.
And I'm not even sure if
Yep.
That's still like the part of the required reading. And, you know, for people who don't know, that's just a book about like how intuitive objects are. Mm-hmm. And just like, you know, fountain pen. It's like you see a fountain pen, you probably figure out how to use it in a couple seconds. There's not a lot to it. It's not that it's minimal, but it's just intuitive.
It's simple too, right? And I think I was thinking about this the other day in my app, but I think we use the word minimal and simple incorrectly, whereas something that is simple should be intuitive, it should be obvious, it should work. But that doesn't mean it's minimal. A lot of work went into that, right? Yeah. And I always tell my teams too that simplicity is the ultimate complexity.
Yeah.
Because it's like you have all this back-end infrastructure that does all this crazy stuff so that it spits out this nice little like text bubble or whatever, right? But I think in our culture, we've really flipped that, and we don't value simple because we think that it's like cheap or something.
Yeah.
But like the first iPhone had a button. I feel bad for the kids today, man. I can't imagine trying to grow up in a world that has internet in your pocket.
I mean, it's a great world too. It's like being a technologist. Like I'm kind of torn between the two, but to me, I like appreciating the value that both brings. Like to me, I read a ton of audiobooks.
Yeah, audiobooks are great.
Still like it, but it's like if there's like a reference that I'm like, you know what? I notice myself going back to this book over and over again. I'll just buy the physical one. You know, it's like nothing kind of beats that for me. But having the two, it's like I'm not going to be reading while I'm driving my car.
Well,
maybe not yet, but maybe soon.
No, I agree. And like I had a conversation with some folks about AI, and there was 3 people. It was me and 2 other people. And one side was literally like, this is going to destroy humanity. The other side was like, well, I don't know. I don't really know a lot about it. And they asked me for my take, and my take was like, it's a tool, just like anything else, right? Like how you use that tool is up to you. And I think that's like with technology, we have to be cognizant, I think, of like unseen impacts like algorithms. I fucking hate Instagram because it poisons the mind of people and also the youth, and they just don't even know what's happening. Whereas, like a nuclear bomb is a technology, but everyone sees that and it's very obvious, and the implications of using it are very obvious, whereas a lot of tech isn't. But at the same time, you can delete Instagram anytime you want. Yeah. Right. You don't have to interact with it. I understand there's like addiction and psychological. I mean, there is it's fucking horrible.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's not a bad thing. It's really how you use it. And I think, again, working in the Valley, and I don't hear that conversation happening enough. I do hear it's like, oh, well, people just, but then none of the tech executives let their kids have iPads, right? And they all go to schools with no technology. I don't really know how to feel about it. And then part of the AI thing I'm working into is it's a weird area because it has the capability to obsolete a lot of stuff. But in my mind, that's not bad. Like, it should be freeing up people from doing shit that we don't need to do. Yeah. And then there's always more shit that comes along. Right. The automobile is going to put out horse poop sweepers was a real thing that people were very worried about. Well, then we have mechanics. Someone needs to maintain the car. Someone needs to supply the tires and the oil. And now there's this distribution. And I don't think that's frankly good innovation. But every technology always tends to obsolete some stuff, hopefully, if it's making stuff better. But then a whole new world opens up.
Yeah.
And that's the promise that I hear a lot with AI, but it's also very underwhelming and under-delivering, in my opinion, at the moment. Is there anything that you're reading or you want to share? I always like to ask people if there's some, or like watching or consuming.
That's a good question. Oh, God. I feel bad that I don't have a book that I'm currently...
There's your assignment. I'm going to buy a useless tech gadget. You're going to buy a book.
Which is weird. I came from a life where I was reading about 2 books a month.
Yep.
And I think just podcasts right now have in these last 2 years have consumed a lot of my life.
That's fair. Yeah.
Being in the industry. So it's like all my free time is like consuming other creators' content.
Do you have a favorite podcast other than this one?
Other than this one, I have a lot. What genre?
Any. I mean, I think I'm more interested in the things or in the podcasts probably that people might not know about that are less common.
Oh, less common. Yeah. Ooh, that's tough. I listened to some of the popular ones. So your audience is mostly familiar with what type of podcast? So less common for them might be.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Pivot is a good example of. I feel like anyone who's into podcasts has probably heard of those shows. Or anybody starting out that you want to maybe rap to. Or
I'll just spitball several that I listen to.
Yeah.
So for comedy, I love This Past Weekend by Theo Von. I don't know if you heard of this guy.
I've heard of it. Yeah.
Yeah. He's just a funny guy. Part of the beauty of the podcast is you feel like you're getting an inside look in these people's lives, and I feel like we're buds, me and Theo. But we're not.
He kind of has that effect. He has
that type of
He's
style.
just that dude who you could walk up to in any part of the world and he'd be just like, hey, man.
Yeah,
exactly.
Right?
And he'd be like, hey, we're friends.
And
now.
I do feel like he would probably do it.
I think he genuinely, I get that. And maybe he's just a really great actor. But yeah, he seems like a genuine kind of guy.
Yeah, so I enjoy his for comedy. I do love comedy podcasts. Neuroscience Huberman.
Yeah.
He's huge, so no one unknown. But I did get to meet him.
Oh, that's cool.
Before, so that was really cool. Yeah. I mean, and he was just nice guy too.
Yeah.
I was shocked.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times I met him at a conference. He was one of these guys who I was like, okay, this guy's not going to stick around. Usually they do their keynote and they bolt, right?
Yep.
It's a funny story. He was I usually don't fanboy over anyone, but he was walking really fast to the stage with his handler, and we were just in the hallway, and I think he was maybe 15 minutes and he'd be up, and I'd be like, you know what? I got to call out to him. And I was probably maybe 50 feet away. It wasn't very close. And I just, yelled out, hey, Huberman. And I couldn't believe it. He walked over.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, good. Shook my hand, and he goes, oh, man, just hey, huge fan. I didn't actually imagine.
Remember we went to college together and you owe me that $30?
Exactly. I should have said that. But he was total gentleman, came over, I don't know, spent a couple minutes talking. And he stayed after too. And then we chatted for 15 minutes. It was awesome. He's usually the guy I use to get people into podcasting.
That's fair.
Because he's just, I don't know, something about him seems approachable and interesting. Actually, a friend of mine turned me onto Lenny's podcast. Have you heard of that one?
I haven't. No, I haven't.
Yeah, it's a great one. I think he has a huge newsletter. He's like a tech guy, and he does a lot of interviews. Yeah, hopefully I'll be coming out with a couple too. Yeah,
for sure. Anything else that you want to bring up or mention, or anything I didn't ask that I should have?
No, this was a fun chat. Yeah.
On a scale of 1 to Theo, how was it?
1 to Theo. I mean, you have to act a little bit more awkward, I think.
Okay. Yeah. I'll work on that. Yeah.
You have to work
get
on
the
your
mullet
awkwardness.
going and
and you have to kind of make up some stories too, I think. I don't know if he actually does that.
He does tell. And no, I know a guy that is like him, and he's also from the South.
By the way, that's the perfect entry to doing a Theo imitation. I know a guy.
I don't listen to him. I know who he is, and I've seen some stuff. But no, I know a guy who's from Florida, and I was in I don't know, context of the story, we were in a car for like 4 hours together, and I didn't know him before that, and then I pretty much got his life story. We were just chatting, and it was one of those, he kept telling me all these stories, and I'm like, there's no fucking way.
Right.
This is impossible. You're making this is just like, apparently his grandma helped raise Ray Charles as like kind of an adopt, and I was like, no fucking way.
Right.
And I'm sitting here politely, just like, oh, that's really cool. What about blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And then I get out of the car, and one of the other guys on the trip knew him, and I was like, is this guy for real? Yeah. And he looks me dead in the eye, and he goes, I don't know, but he tells great stories.
Yeah.
And so I started doing a little digging on this person, and apparently some woman
no way.
took him, and I don't know, presumably it was his grandma. I don't know, but that was a true story.
Wow.
And then I started digging into some of the other shit he was telling me, and I was like, holy fuck, like most of this is like plausibly true. And I was like, it's like,
do you remember his name? He should have a podcast.
I don't know if he's alive anymore, to be honest.
Okay.
He's old at the time. If he's still alive, I'm sorry. You know who you are. It was kind of like, what is it? The Curious Case of Benjamin Button? Was that Big Fish. Thank you. It was like, and again, I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but spoiler alert, it's all real and it's all true, or it's all a manifestation of some truth. And that was how this was. And I feel like that's Theo. I get that vibe. I don't know him. I've never met him. I haven't listened to a lot of, but I've like the way he just talks and tell. I'm like, it's probably real. It's maybe embellished, but I feel like it's probably. Anyway,
I love meeting people like that. It's like, you never know.
Yeah.
Could be.
Well, thanks again for coming out. I think, again, you're the first person in person. So this is kind of a different vibe. I don't know. It's different. I like it.
Well, how was it for you?
It was fine. Yeah. I mean, like, I just like talking to people.
Yeah. Well, you should do these in persons more. I feel like in terms of, I've been on a lot of podcasts, and like doing it live is nice. It's a nice feel.
Yeah. And I try to do like a one record. Like I do editing if someone says something dumb, which is usually me, and I still don't typically edit it out. Like the first podcast I did, I talked about black Nazis. I love bringing that up. Everyone gets like, you said Nazis. Yeah. So Google's generative AI was doing pictures of people, and someone, of course, was like, show me diverse Nazis. And it had Asian Nazis and black Nazis. And then like, it was this huge, like, it kind of blew up for a minute. They took it all down, and you still can't really generate images of people now, which I'm on.
Oh, interesting.
Because I don't think they fixed that problem. So the intent of that was to show pictures of not white people when just show normal fucking people. And then because AI is AI, and I don't think it was like show me black Nazis, but they like did a little social engineering with the model, and then it went, of course, bonkers. And the whole world came crashing. And my thoughts on that again are like how you use it. Like if you're trying to do like an artistic expression piece or some sort of thought-provoking philosophical, like what if this was what it was like kind of thing, but it was clearly labeled that, I can see it. But because it's obviously Nazis and it's already a hot topic, like it just, they shut the whole thing down after a couple of days. And but anyway, I say inflammatory shit all the time, and like it's not because I want to inflame people, but it's also like that is a very important topic to talk about. And if you want to hear more about it, I think that was the first episode I did with Nathan. But anyway, I don't try not to edit. I try to just make it a conversation we record. Great. But
I love it.
If somebody does say something crazy,
well, even if I said something dumb, feel free to leave it in.
I know, right? That's part of the creativity, right? It's like making mistakes, saying the wrong thing, being corrected. It's all part of the learning process. And I feel like so much, especially the podcasts, are now so fucking professional.
Yeah.
That it's great because listening to someone say, is really distracting, but it's also fucking natural.
Yeah.
I always tell people, like, if you're having a conversation with somebody and they're just talking and they're not thinking, they're not pausing, they're not giving you filler words, like they're either really professionally trained or more likely they're not telling you anything. Right? Right. They're not thinking. They're just, this is the talking point. So I love just talking with people, like what I would consider normal.
Yeah.
For folks at home, you used to have conversations with people in person and not talk to them on your phones. But,
people don't talk on phones.
I know. I'm such a boomer. I use my phone to call people.
Boomer. You call people? That's crazy.
Awesome, man. Well, thanks again. Thanks again for coming out.
Yeah, thank you.
You can find us at 38.com. It's like the word create, but with a 3 instead of the C. As always, we encourage you to listen, watch, do. We'll see you next time. You can support this podcast at patreon.com/38 or at ko-fi.com/38. Thanks for listening.